In the last video, I had a bit of a controversial topic, so for this one, I've chosen to pick a non-controversial. To be more exact, I'm talking about the Obi Wan Kenobi show. Now, when I saw this, I thought, there's no possible way that they'll fuck this up. If I only knew how wrong I truly was. Making a prequel show or movie, you only have two ways. You could go the prequels route, which had some characters from the original movie, like Yoda and Obi Wan Kenobi, Anakin, and Emperor Palpatine. That was a twist, but still, you get my point. And you also introduced new characters that fates are undetermined to create stakes, to create tension. Or you can take the Rogue One route, and you're just explaining something that is unexplained. If Rogue One chose to explain how the rebels got the Death Star plans. If you do the second one, you run the risk of making a movie that's a bit unnecessary. The Obi Wan Kenobi showrunners chose to not do either of these, and they opted to have 8 characters that die in later movies. And if you're thinking, oh, why is this a bad thing? Well, hold your horses. I'll tell you. Oh, those guys are kidnapping Leia? Well, she makes it out of this because she dies in a later movie. Obi-Wan absolutely getting his ass beaten? Oh, he'll be fine because he dies in a later movie. Oh shit, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, they're getting in a fight with Reva? Well, they'll conveniently not die because they die in a later movie. Reva's chasing after Luke? Holy shit! What are we gonna do? He's so fucked! Wait, actually, she couldn't even kill 2 untrained farmers, so I think he'll make it out of this just fine. Oh, also, he dies later. I think I've made my point why this ruins the show. The prequels had 4 characters that die in later movies. You've made a really shitty Star Wars show or movie if someone can explain why it sucks more than the prequels in less than 300 words. Let's talk about Reva really quick. I liked parts of her story, and I think the way the fan base attacked the actress because of her race was sad and unacceptable. But what I don't understand is why Reva tried to go kill Luke. Is it spite? If so, Disney, do not try to make a show or movie with Reva as like a hero figure. Maybe an anti-hero, but there's a thing called the point of no return. And even if she didn't murder Luke, going to murder a child out of spite is past that point of return, even if the child got to live. Ooh, everybody manipulated me. Guess I'll go murk a child. It's like hard. It's hard to come back from that, I mentioned this earlier, but Reva failed to kill 2 untrained farmers. Like, a person with that level of training, with a lightsaber, and the Force, and she's proved herself to the audience going toe-to-toe with Darth Vader and not dying, it should have been a blowout. She should have been, walked in and killed them both with ease. But since they die in a later movie, she can't do that. And even if, just forget. If this is your first Star Wars thing, and you see that, you're like, wow, this sucks. This character was fighting Darth Vader earlier, and now they can't fucking kill 2 farmers. What's going on? I like to think Reva in episodes 1 through 5 is a different character from Reva in episode 6. Alright, that's not talking about Reva. Let's get back to making fun of the show as a whole. The show's CGI is questionable. If you look right here, you can see where the VFX artists gave up the will to live. It's only slightly better than Supergirl, and Supergirl's CGI sucks. It's almost like releasing a show every 3 months is not a sustainable thing to do. Oh wait, you're gonna do it with video games? Where have I heard that before too? If you look at the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan fight in the final episode, it just looks a little bit off. Like when Obi-Wan is throwing rocks with the Force at Darth Vader, it just doesn't look right. It looks off. Also, the sound design for this part is a little bit off too. That's right. I'm making fun of the sound design. Nothing's safe. This is the audio from that scene. Now, I've thrown a lot of rocks in my day, and I don't remember it sounding like Legos hitting the floor. There are so many problems with this final fight. Like, the lighting. It's so dark. You can barely see anything. It reminds me of Alien vs. Predator Requiem. But in this case, you can actually see a little bit. Barely, but you can see. If you're wondering why it's dark, well, it's because it's cheaper. Let me explain it. Now, you can see I'm holding a rock because of the light. But if I were to turn off the light, you would be not able to see that I'm holding a rock. But if I were to grab a flashlight and not point it at myself, point it like slightly away, like right here, like over here, and hold up the rock, you can barely see it. Boom! Just like that, you've saved millions of dollars on CGI without costing the show's quality at all. This technique of turning off the light has been used for a while. In older movies, it was used to cover up like wires, even bad props and bad costumes. Now it's more of to lower the detail on CGI. And added bonus, people will barely notice. I mean, barely see, actually. My bad. I hope you enjoy this lighting, because this is how the rest of the video will be shot. Just kidding. I actually care about the viewer experience. Unlike some people, it's too bad too. All of this, like, ruins the best, what could have been the best line in Star Wars history. You didn't kill Anakin. I did. Holy shit, just think about what it could have been. This could have been one of the greatest lightsaber fights in the history of Star Wars, but instead it will be one of the worst. There are a lot of problems with the show, like the twist. They weren't that twisty. The guy that appears in an upcoming video game isn't dead? That is revisiting a point that I mentioned earlier, but still, it's like whoever wrote this is a genius! This show, in my opinion, was doomed to fail from the very start. We knew like most of the characters' origins, and we also knew when a lot of them were gonna die in later movies. You can't shoehorn a story in there without making it feel forced. You think Disney would have learned from Black Widow not to try this. But, as I have always said, the best way to learn a lesson is to spend millions and millions of dollars once, learn nothing, and then spend millions and millions of dollars again, and here's the twist, learn nothing and do it a third time. I don't think Andor will be as disappointing as Obi Wan, because we the people do not know his origin. But Season 2, on the other hand, that remains to be seen. The prequels tell us Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi's origins. Rogue One told us the story of how the rebels got the Death Star plans. This show told us a piece of information that will affect Star Wars for years to come. How Uncle Owen got his limp.